First thing I like to do is take up these pillars off. You can see someone else has already been in here. They've got the probably tape back here. Take this one, just pull on it. You get plastic tabs. You pull straight out. We're going to take the plastic door behind the inner handle off. I like to use a small screwdriver or body panel. And you'll see a little notch right here. They're not the easiest thing to get off. Oh, look at that. So now we're going to take off the window switch. So I take the blade part of my plastic. I like to go right in there and just lift it up. So you'll see here, there's a tab that goes forward. So it's going to go down like this and snap back here. Undo the plug, which is just to push in. There's the tab right there. Pull the switch out of the way. Now we have a Phillips screw here in there. There should be one more mounting. Oh, there it is right there. So we'll take the flathead screwdriver, pop this off. Okay, so this stays attached. There's a little plastic string there. Phillips screwdriver. You can see the size difference. The smaller one goes on the inner door handle. That bigger one goes on the actual panel. There's two. Just take this bezel out, slide it this way, and you'll see the actual inner door handle rod right there, that plastic clip. Just push it right off the rod, like that. Now you can lift this up, set it aside. Last thing that has screws in it is the speaker, so you're going to take your screwdriver, pop the housing off, a little screen. So I'm going to take the connectors off, set that aside. Now with your plastic trim tool, you're going to wedge it in here and just pull so you hear it pop. Then you can go all the way around. Once it's popped off, you're just going to come up here, lift it straight up off the window guide, set it aside. So I'm going to disconnect the mirror connector harness because I want to take all this plastic off so I have full access to that window regulator. So over here should be a little clip, push in on. There we go. Now with a trim tool, I'm going to pull the little ears off so that the harness will pop off. Oh, well, that was nice. So you saw that came off. Someone's been in here. So now I'm going to use a flat edge razor. I'm just going to try to peel it as close as possible because I want to reuse it. And just work your way right around. So now here is the window motor connector. Push on that tab, disconnect it. Make sure you have a 10mm socket. Up in here, the glass is attached on the, actually it's right here, on the regulator. It's a sleeve that goes up and down. And here's the motor. So I've got 3 mounting screws here. I'm going to loosen them all. I don't have to take them all the way out because Honda designed a slotted panel. So loosen them enough, that's not a word. Loosen them up enough so that you can do that. Now, I see here the harness has a little clip right here. So if you could have a pair of pliers or anything, you can just pop one side ear through. And then pop this ear through. And if I put my hand in there, there's another one right here. So now the only thing holding this window up are these 4 screws. So I have tape you can put on here. I have suction cups, whatever you can use to keep this glass up safe, because if not, it's going to come down like a guillotine. With some painter's tape, because it removes easily, I like this a lot better than like regular Scotch tape. Scotch tape sometimes leaves residue behind, and then you gotta clean it. Now we have our window taped up safely. I'm going to loosen up the 4 bolts that are holding the rest of the regulator in. There we go. So we have to release the glass from the actual regulator, window regulator. There's 2 10mm head screws. I'm going to reach in there with a wrench and see if I can loosen them up. If you can loosen those screws, they actually come loose. That releases the glass. I'm going to take this screw all the way out. It's there for safety, but I can't push it up any further for it to release from the glass. I have to have it drop down. There you go. Okay, so now with that all loosened up and released, I'm going to cut away my tape, and I can bring my glass window down so that the bolts hopefully line up to these mounting holes. So you have to take the screws completely out because the regulator is actually mounted to the piece that squeezes the glass together. Usually sometimes they're slotted and it just lifts right out. This one is not. So I was able to push it down so that I can get my hands in there at level and take the bolts out. So this is the original window regulator unit, and the motor itself is attached to the whole cable mechanism. So there's no mounting screws facing the other way. So you can't just connect the motor and let the cable spin freely. Okay, and there's the last screw. Just hold on to the glass because that can slide down freely. What we want to do now is hold it there. I'm going to put it back up into the spot. It should stay, shouldn't slide anywhere. I'll just get my tape and got the glass taped up. Now we're ready to grab this regulator and slide it out. So I'm going to go with this is a bigger opening. We do have this wire in the way, so let's see if we can. Come in. Not bad. Okay. So after matching and make sure everything looks good, matches up perfectly, I'm going to take these 3 mounting screws out and I'm going to put them into the new regulator so they're ready to go once I get that in the door. So this is how it sits inside, right there, just like that. And we're going to slide it back in, putting the tall piece in first. I'm going to bring my hand over here on the speaker side. As your mother would say, quiet down, a lot of Ratchet. There we go. So now that slides right into place. Make sure the harness is up and rooted right up there. Right over this. For some reason, it goes this way. I'm going to tighten these 3 mounting screws before I move on to the regulator. So you're going to have to manipulate the regulator in front of the glass. The glass is sitting here, so I put my hand up in there and I just wedged it up between there. So now I'm flat against the door panel. And you can see all 4 bolt holes will line up. Put the 2 bottom ones in first. We just want them started at this point. Line the top up. Snug these up. I like just to snug them all up, and then I will give them a good turn. Turn them up, let's tighten them up. As you can see, the window regulator, the guide itself that it rides on, is lined up perfectly where we want it. So the manufacturer presets it to where you want to have it so that you can access the mounting bolts for the glass. I'm going to remove the tape from the glass. Make sure it doesn't fall down. I'm just going to guide it right down. It should line right up. See the plastic piece right there? Perfect. Grab one of the bolts. So you can actually, once the glass is on the regulator, there's a little metal lip on the bracket, so you can feel free. The glass is not going to come down anymore. So then you can use both hands to start these bolts in. So I just grabbed a ratchet wrench so that I can tighten this up. It's 10 millimeter. Just snugging it, and I'm going to go to the other side and snug that side before I tighten it. You don't have to really crank on it too much because it is glass. Now at this time is when I'm going to plug the switch in and turn the key on, because I like to test it before I put it all back together. Now with the new motor plugged in, the key's in the on position or accessory. I'm going to find the plug. I grab my window switch. I'm just going to pop it in. Let's give it a shot. Nice. So now we know everything works. We're going to put it back together. I'm going to disconnect my switch here because it will be in the way if you don't. And make sure you shut your battery off because you don't want to ruin that. This goes in on the back side there. I already put my inner door handle latch rod. We'll start mounting this. Hopefully it re-sticks. It is, sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. You can always put a little tape on there if you want to. I've seen people take razors and cut them. It never stays. And then a customer will complain about it. They hear the wind, they hear noise. So make sure you put your wires through here. This goes on the outside of that, like that. You'll see the two nice little cutouts. Bring it on over. Okay, now this mounts right here. This one mounts right there. Plug your mirror back in. Okay, now we're ready to grab the door panel. Make sure your speaker wires are accessible because you're going to have to run them right through right here. Just grab them, pull them through. Now you're going to mount the top here, and you get the lock. So that's going to slide over it. Sorry if my arm's in the way. Must have pushed it down. So pull it into the unlock position because that'll give you the most play. Now you just have to ride it over lock it down. Just try to get that to stay in place. Make sure it moves. Make sure your wire for your window switches out of the way, and the speaker wires, make sure they're out all the way. And now we're ready to just push the pins back in. All the way around. Let's grab your speaker. I remember that the connectors were at 6 o'clock. The wires, green was on my right. These are aftermarket, so they might line up a little weird, but just as long as you make sure that the mounting screws are in the right place. There we go. Grab your screwdriver, Phillips head. I'm going to grab my last the other three mounting screws. Remember that long gold one goes down here. So we're just going to place that right in the spot. Now the top here, we have to get our handle first. Pulling that rod out, goes right in that little hole like that. So you make sure it's leveled, and then slide this thing right around. In that little lock, right on that. Ready? Perfect. You've got some mounting ears back here, so they'll slide in this way. Oh, it looks like I got one in the front here too. There's a tab right here. There we go. Pull this handle out. Don't forget the little tab that covers that. I don't know if they need that tape, but I'm going to leave it on there. You got two little ears on the bottom and one on the top. So just slide it down in, line it in. Now we can put our switch in. Line up the tab. The locking tab is facing this way, so. Now remember the front part slides in. And then just. We got the speaker cover. Do the same. We've got mounting tabs everywhere. Line them up. And then our, last but not least, our front little plastic cover. And the one that was broken to begin with. Well, let's give it a shot.